It is 2:47 in the morning. You wake up for no reason, no sound, no alarm, just this vague, low-grade feeling that something is wrong. You open your eyes, and there it is, sitting at the foot of the bed, perfectly still, watching you, your cat, not blinking, not moving, just watching. And in that moment, your brain does what human brains always do when confronted with something they cannot immediately explain. It reaches for the most dramatic interpretation available. Something is wrong. Something is in the room. Something is about to happen. But here is the thing no one tells you, and it is somehow both more interesting and more unsettling than the ghost explanation. Your cat probably does not even fully know you are there. Let us talk about how a cat actually sees the world, because most people get this completely backwards. You have been told that cats can see in the dark. That is partially true, and the partial truth is what makes it misleading. Cats cannot see in total darkness. What they can do is function in light conditions so dim that your eye would register it as pitch black. They need only 1/6 of the light that a human eye requires to form a usable image. They have a structure behind their retina called the tapetum lucidum, which is Latin for bright tapestry, and it acts essentially as a mirror. Light enters the eye, hits the retina, and then bounces back through again. The retina gets two passes at the same photon. That is why cat eyes glow in photographs. That is why they seem lit from inside. So at 2:47 in the morning, your cat is not staring into darkness. It is staring into a room that looks to them like early twilight. Slightly washed out, slightly blue, but entirely navigable. You, meanwhile, are a large warm shape making rhythmic breathing sounds in the middle of that room. This is where it starts to get interesting. Cats are obligate carnivores, which sounds like a dietary preference but is actually a neurological and behavioral designation. It means their entire sensory system is built around one thing: detecting, tracking, and catching prey. Everything about the way they see, hear, and think is downstream from that single evolutionary pressure. And prey, almost universally, is most active at dawn and dusk. Cats are crepuscular, not nocturnal, despite what everyone assumes. Their peak biological activity windows are the hours just before sunrise and just after sunset. The in-between hours, the deep night hours, are technically rest time, but rest time for a cat does not look like rest time for a human. It looks like light sleep, frequent position changes, and long stretches of ambient vigilance, half awake, monitoring. Here is where the staring comes in. When a cat goes into this monitoring state, their visual system shifts. They stop processing the scene the way you do, as a holistic image with context and meaning, and they start processing it the way a motion detector processes a room. They are not looking at you. They are watching for movement. They are waiting for something in their environment to change. You are a large object in their environment. You are breathing. Your chest is rising and falling. Your fingers are occasionally twitching. To your cat, at 2 in the morning, you are a very large, very slow, very interesting source of micro-movements. They are not staring at you. They are staring at the movement that happens to be coming from you. The distinction sounds trivial. It is not. Cats have approximately 200 degrees of peripheral vision compared to a human E's 180. But here is the trade. Their ability to resolve fine detail is significantly worse than ours. Where a human eye sees crisp edges and sharp color, a cat sees something closer to an impressionist painting. The shapes are right, the motion is right, the details are soft. What they sacrifice in sharpness, they gain in sensitivity. Their retinas are packed with rod cells, the photoreceptors responsible for detecting light and motion, and relatively sparse in cone cells, the ones responsible for color and detail. They probably see the world in muted blues and yellows with almost no red. Your face at close range in daylight is readable to your cat. But your face across a dark room is mostly just a warm blob attached to a breathing pattern they have memorized. They know you by your movement signature more than your face. This is not a weakness. This is precisely the system you would design if you needed to detect a mouse moving through grass at midnight. Now there is another layer here, and this is the part that the cute cat videos on the internet almost never get into. Cats do not only stare because they are tracking motion. They also stare because they are communicating in the cat social vocabulary. Sustained eye contact is a threat display. When two cats stare at each other without blinking, that is a confrontation. It is a negotiation of dominance. The one who looks away first is the one who yields. When a domestic cat makes slow eye contact with you and then slowly, deliberately closes its eyes and opens them again, that is the opposite signal. It is the cat equivalent of standing down. I am not a threat. I am at ease. You are not a threat. We are fine. Veterinarians and animal behaviorists call this the slow blink. Cat owners discovered it experimentally over years of just living with cats. Researchers confirmed it formally in a study published in 2020 out of the University of Sussex. They found that cats were significantly more likely to slow blink back at a human who slow blinked at them first, and significantly more likely to approach that human afterward. So slow blinking at your cat in the dark is, technically, you sending a diplomatic communique to a small carnivore who may or may not be tracking your breathing as if you were prey. The fact that it works is either charming or extremely strange depending on how you think about it. But back to the staring, the unblinking, middle-of-the-night, full vigilance stare. There is a third explanation, and this one sounds mystical but is entirely physiological. Cats may occasionally be staring at something that is not there. Not because of ghosts, because their auditory range extends to approximately 79,000 hertz. When your cat suddenly snaps its head toward a wall and stares at it for 45 seconds, it is almost certainly hearing something at a frequency your ear cannot register. You see a cat staring at nothing. The cat sees a cat responding to an audible event. The room is never as quiet as it sounds to you. There is one more thing, and this is where the story gets a little uncomfortable. Your cat has been watching you sleep for years, probably every night. You just do not know about most of it because you were asleep during those watches. They have been building a behavioral model of you. They know approximately when you transition from light to deep sleep. They know which movements mean you are about to wake up and which ones mean you are just shifting position. They know your breathing rhythms. They have functionally been studying you the way a scientist studies a subject, except the scientist in this case has access to sensory data you cannot perceive and has been running the study continuously for however long you have owned them. Some researchers argue that cats, particularly indoor cats that have been with a single owner for several years, develop a detailed enough model of human behavior to predict, with reasonable accuracy, when that human will wake up, when they will leave, and when they will return. Not through any mystical sense, through pattern recognition applied over thousands of hours of observation. You thought you were watching your cat has been watching you. So here is where that leaves us. At 2:47 in the morning, your cat is sitting at the foot of the bed watching the movement your breathing produces. Possibly listening to something 2 rooms away that you will never hear. Occasionally sending you slow diplomatic blinks you are too asleep to notice and running a continuous behavioral model of a creature it has studied for years and has largely figured out. It is not malevolent, it is not mystical, it is not broken. It is exactly what a small, sophisticated predator does when it lives inside a house. With a large, largely harmless, very predictable mammal it has chosen, for reasons of its own, to keep around. The question that nobody has fully answered is whether the choice is affection, strategy, or something so alien to human categories that we do not have a clean word for it yet. Your cat would not tell you even if it could. It has a system, and the system is working.